Welcome, curious minds, to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on quite a journey, exploring human self-perfection and self-development.
Yeah, it's a huge topic. Deeply human.
It really is. And this isn't just some, dusty philosophical concept.
Yeah.
It feels fundamental, an aspiration we've had for, well, ages.
Well, millennia, really.
And for this deep dive, we're taking maybe a unique angle, looking at it through an AI-driven scientific study.
Exactly, which
Yeah.
is fascinating. Imagine a tool that can process just massive amounts of data.
Okay.
See patterns, make predictions on a scale we can't manage on our own.
Right.
That's what AI brings to this ancient pursuit. It's helping us build a kind of, a data-driven science of the science for understanding human flourishing.
The science of the science. I like that.
Mhm.
And our mission for you, our listener, is really to give you a shortcut through this complex subject.
Mhm.
We'll look at its past, its present, and maybe most importantly, its future. Trying to keep it global, actionable, and responsible.
Yep.
So to even start, we need to unpack what self-perfection really means. Where does it come from? Philosophically, psychologically?
Exactly. The foundations are key.
Definitely. So philosophically, you often hear about perfectionism, right? This idea that improving yourself is the main goal, self-realization as the top good.
Mm-hmm. It involves consciously working on your feelings, emotions, desires, aligning them with virtue, with moral excellence.
Like Aristotle, for instance. He linked the good life, eudaimonia, with developing our core human nature.
And that idea of perfection itself has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
Yeah. How so?
Well, it started as something external, God's nature, but then, especially after Darwin, it shifted, became more of an attainable human ideal.
Ah.
Ancient Greek thought really stressed the lifelong effort involved, hard work. They had figures like the perfect sage as a kind of embodiment of that.
So eudaimonia,
Hmm.
it's often translated as flourishing or well-being, but it's not just feeling happy, is it?
No, not simply feeling good. It's more a moral happiness, living virtuously, authentically, realizing your potential.
And virtues like justice, courage, they're seen as connected,
Yeah.
like forms of knowledge.
Exactly. But here's a really crucial point for our discussion. Philosophy itself admits that different theories disagree on what those key properties of perfection actually are.
Okay. So what does that mean practically?
It means individuals and whole cultures get to choose the values they see as representing the ideal.
So self-perfection isn't some fixed point on a map.
Not at all. It's dynamic, it evolves, it's culturally specific.
And what about the psychological angle? How does psychology see the self in all this?
Well, generally, it's seen as a whole entity, a holistic thing. You have psychodynamic theories, Freud, Jung focusing on emotions, relationships,
Right.
and then developmental theories like Erik Erikson's. He saw identity forming continuously right across our life, shaped by these psychosocial challenges we face.
So Erikson really broadened Freud's ideas, didn't he? Bringing in the social world much more.
Hugely important step. He emphasized how personality develops through that constant back and forth between what we want and what society expects.
Like Piaget noted too, right? The self emerging from negotiating our inner world and outer reality.
Exactly. And then you also have social cognitive theory, adding things like self-efficacy, our belief in our own ability to manage our behavior and motivation.
Okay, so pulling that together, we have this idea of an internal self with potential, needing the right environment to grow, but also a really strong social element suggesting the self kind of emerges from how we interact with others.
And that's the critical observation. It sets up this fascinating paradox.
Which is?
Well, this drive for perfection seems universal, something deep in us. But what perfection looks like and how you get there, that's profoundly shaped by culture, society, individual values.
Right, so much variation.
Which means, and this is vital for AI, you
Yeah.
can't just impose one single definition, especially not one that's, say, heavily Western-centric, which AI models can sometimes default to due to biased data.
Okay, that perfectly leads us to AI's unique role here. Given all that complexity and variation, how can AI help us understand something so nuanced? Why is it so crucial now?
It's that sheer processing power, the ability to handle enormous data sets, find patterns humans would miss, generate predictions. It's transformative for understanding complex human stuff.
Can you give an example, like how does that translate practically?
Well, think about it. AI can help decode neural pathways linked to certain behaviors or virtues. It can uncover these subtle patterns in development or social interaction that were previously invisible.
Okay.
Studies are showing AI can even model social interactions in ways that mirror biological brains, identifying shared and unique neural processes. It gives us a new scientific lens on the how.
The how of self-perfection, like how virtues are actually cultivated, how cooperation emerges.
Precisely. It could lead to empirically validated pathways for self-development, moving beyond just philosophy into something more like applied science, maybe even personalized pathways eventually.
Fascinating. Okay, let's dig into the science in action then. How does this play out biologically, socially, cross-culturally? First, this idea of self-perfection as a social thing, a social imperative.
Yes.
The sources say achieving an ideal, rational, or social self really depends on cooperation and intimate union with society, that the superior self is a social self.
This is so important. Individual flourishing isn't separate from society. It's deeply linked to our interactions, our communities.
So any AI approach has to prioritize that, social engagement, community.
Absolutely. It shouldn't foster isolation. And that raises a really critical point, the risk of becoming emotionally dependent on, say, virtual agents instead of real human support.
Definite challenge.
Yeah.
And what about biology? The sources kind of hint at it.
Yeah.
That internal self and potentia, the shift after Darwin.
Right. It implicitly acknowledges a biological basis. And this really points to needing a holistic model. Biopsychosocial, cultural.
All interconnected.
Exactly. AI has the potential to map these incredibly complex interactions. Genes, brain functions, psychology, social life, culture, all feeding into each other. That could lead to very personalized approaches.
But that also raises red flags, surely. Genetic determinism, data privacy.
Huge ethical concerns. You touch on genetics and immediately ideas about greater genotypes and, frankly, nasty eugenic echoes come up. We have to be incredibly careful.
Okay. And the cross-cultural piece.
Right.
We know perfection isn't universally defined.
Right. Cultures prioritize different values. Norms vary hugely. Think about tight societies with strict norms versus loose ones with more tolerance.
And things like cooperation, competition, that varies too.
Massively. Which brings us back to that tension. Universal striving, but no universal parameters. Cultures choose their own ideals.
So the how-to of self-improvement is really embedded in the culture.
Deeply. And AI must be sensitive to that. It can't just impose Western ideals, which we know happens because of the data. AI often learns from that weird bias again.
Western, educated, industrialized, rich, democratic.
Yeah. So diverse representative data sets are not just nice to have. They're essential for AI to be truly helpful and not harmful here.
This leads us perfectly into how AI isn't just analyzing us, it's actively shaping us. Let's talk about the impact on our thinking, our cognition.
Yeah, this is happening right now.
We see algorithms on social media, streaming. They fragment our attention, don't they? Predictive text nudges our thoughts.
And cognitive offloading. Relying on devices to remember things for us, it might actually be reducing our own memory capacity.
Which makes you wonder, if we offload everything, are we really perfecting ourselves or just changing the definition of capable?
It's a trade-off. And it filters what we see, too, reinforcing confirmation bias, potentially.
And emotionally. AI tools like chatbots, they can offer quick relief, maybe?
They can, but they lack genuine human empathy. That raises that risk again. Emotional dependency on something virtual, potentially replacing real human connection. And privacy concerns, of course, with sensitive emotional data.
So here's the dilemma. AI offers personalized learning, maybe therapeutic insights.
Potentially, yes.
But its influence on our memory, our thinking, our emotions, could it actually hinder the very traits we need for self-perfection? Like deep focus, critical analysis, real empathy.
That's the core tension. It's a powerful causal link. But on the other side, AI is also revolutionizing research into these things.
How so? In psychology, neuroscience.
Massively. Analyzing huge data sets, finding patterns, making predictions, it speeds things up incredibly. Streamlining admin for psychologists, offering clinical insights, even helping train therapists.
And in neuroscience?
Decoding neural pathways, finding those hidden patterns, refining our understanding of how cognition works. Even large language models are helping by synthesizing vast amounts of literature, sparking new research ideas.
So there's this powerful feedback loop happening. Neuroscience inspires AI. AI pushes neuroscience forward.
Exactly. It accelerates that science of the science of self-perfection we talked about.
But the mirror AI holds up
Yeah.
could be distorted, couldn't it?
Yeah.
If the AI itself has biases or limitations.
Precisely. Any flaws in the AI can get reflected back into our self-understanding, potentially reinforcing flawed ideas about human flourishing. Ethical AI development isn't just a technical problem. It's fundamental to getting the science right.
And education. You mentioned personalized learning. That sounds like a huge potential benefit.
Transformative potential. Tailoring content to individual needs, pace, preferences. Studies show it can improve grades, consistency, engagement.
But it's not just about academics, right? What about those core human traits?
Critical point. Skills like creativity, critical thinking, empathy, resilience. These are paramount. They need fostering from the very beginning, even before school.
So integrating AI literacy early on, using things like play-based learning.
Yes, in developmentally appropriate ways. We need to equip kids to thrive with AI, focusing on the human skills AI can't replicate.
Which brings us squarely to the societal and ethical side of all this. AI-driven self-perfection. It's not just personal.
Not at all. It has huge societal implications.
There's a whole field of AI ethics trying to guide this, right?
Yeah.
Core principles.
Yes, things like proportionality, do the benefits outweigh risks? Do not harm, safety, security, privacy, data protection.
Governance involving everyone.
Right.
Responsibility, accountability.
Transparency, explainability, knowing how the AI works. Human oversight, keeping humans in the loop. Sustainability, awareness and literacy. And critically, fairness and non-discrimination.
And that fairness piece seems like a major hurdle. Bias and discrimination in AI.
It's a huge risk. AI models learn from data, and if that data reflects real-world biases, the AI will reproduce, even amplify them.
Fueling divisions.
Potentially, yes. It often comes down to the data unbalanced representation of nationalities, cultures, genders, races, religions.
We see concrete examples, right? Biased facial recognition, skewed medical diagnoses.
Absolutely. And those broader cultural biases, the weird country alignment, are pervasive. Tackling this needs serious effort, comprehensive evaluation, testing, adopting responsible AI principles throughout the life cycle.
So this brings us back to that core contradiction, doesn't it? The dream of universal self-perfection, helping everyone, no matter what culture or race, versus the reality of AI today. Biased, lacking diversity, culturally insensitive sometimes, because of the data it's trained on.
It's a profound challenge, the ideal versus the current implementation.
And value alignment. Can we make AI systems truly ethical, more ethical than us?
Probably not more ethical than their creators, no. But AI can act as that mirror, reflecting our own biases back at us. That's an opportunity.
An opportunity to see ourselves more clearly and maybe improve.
Exactly, to ethically upskill ourselves as decision makers. The goal should be human-AI ethical coevolution. AI helps us spot our blind spots. We guide the AI ethically. It's not about AI dictating morality.
Okay. But human nature isn't always about striving for the ideal, is it? What about rule-breaking, conflict, xenophobia? How does the science of self-perfection handle that?
Great question. Rule-breaking itself is complex personality, environment, trauma, peers, even social breakdown, what sociology calls anomie.
And things like xenophobia, intergroup conflict.
Deep roots there, too. Evolutionary factors, personality, learned attitudes, competition for resources. Theories like social identity theory and realistic conflict theory help explain those dynamics.
So, another paradox. Self-perfection aims for an ideal, but cultures choose different ideals, and that very diversity can spark conflict if one group's ideal becomes exclusionary.
That's the causal link. Diversity itself isn't the problem. Intolerance of diversity is. An AI-driven science of self-perfection has to actively promote understanding and empathy across cultures, not just optimize within one cultural bubble.
Could AI help mitigate this? Or does it risk making it worse?
Both are possible. AI could potentially identify early warning signs of harmful behaviors or attitudes, allowing for interventions, maybe personalized education, fostering empathy.
But the downside?
If the AI is biased or used for surveillance without ethical checks, it could absolutely worsen divisions. Unfair targeting, reinforcing prejudice, undermining the whole idea of inclusive self-perfection. Human oversight and responsibility are non-negotiable.
Which leads to leadership. What kind of culture do we need to elect good leaders in this complex future?
Ideally, a culture that embodies those self-perfection ideals we discussed, virtue, reason, a strong social sense, and one that integrates AI thoughtfully.
AI is a tool for better governance.
Potentially. For analysis, identifying bias in decisions, modeling policy impacts, even simulating leadership styles, but always with humans making the final judgment, taking responsibility.
This really highlights the interconnectedness of everything. Humans, society, AI, and nature. Self-perfection isn't happening in a vacuum.
Absolutely not. We need to think in terms of complex social ecological systems, human society, economy, culture. They're not separate from the environment. They're deeply intertwined with biological ecology.
With feedback loops, potential tipping points, regime shifts, you called them.
Exactly. Big, sometimes irreversible changes in the whole system.
So this feels like a critical realization. True self-perfection can't happen if we ignore nature. Ecological responsibility has to be part of it.
It's fundamental. Environmental degradation directly harms human well-being. Sustainability isn't just an add-on. It's integral to a true science of human self-perfection and development.
And AI can help model these complex systems, predict consequences, guide sustainable actions.
Yes, that's a huge potential application. Because the human impact is already severe: climate change, habitat loss, extinction, pollution, resource depletion.
So if we picture a model, it's like human self-perfection influences and is influenced by AI, society, and nature, all interconnected.
Right. With overarching themes like ethics, sustainability, inclusion, long-term flourishing, tying it all together. AI's impact on our thinking ripples through society, affects the environment, and environmental health underpins everything else.
So achieving a balanced universe, so to speak, means AI-driven self-perfection must include environmental stewardship.
It has to. Using AI for things like optimizing resource use, sustainable farming, better waste management, ensuring the whole ecosystem can thrive regeneratively.
Okay, let's pivot towards the future then. What's the best possible scenario look like? Maybe starting with how we raise our children, fostering that healthy, educated, and good child.
AI definitely offers potential there. Personalized education, as we said, tailored content, virtual tutoring, instant feedback, boosting engagement and performance.
But that aspiration for a healthy, educated, and good child, that's more than just grades, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's about character, virtue. Could AI be designed to help identify learning pathways that cultivate those things? Emotional intelligence, resilience?
Moving AI beyond just delivering knowledge to actually helping shape moral and emotional development.
That's the potential. But again, massive ethical caveats. We need to ensure it's facilitating, not manipulating, avoiding bias, moral instruction. It's tricky territory.
And those core human skills we keep coming back to: creativity, critical thinking, empathy, resilience.
Still paramount. Nurturing them from day one, pre-kindergarten even, using methods like play-based learning, but integrating AI literacy appropriately, giving kids the tools to navigate an AI world while strengthening their unique human capacities.
So what kind of society, what kind of culture supports this optimal development?
Well, it loops back to society's responsibility to enable individual self-perfection. Remember, the ideal, rational, or social self needs that cooperation and intimate union with society.
And that internal self in potentia, it needs the right environment to grow.
Exactly. Society has to provide that adequate environment. That means addressing inequalities, fostering inclusion, ensuring ethical AI development that supports everyone across all demographics. It's about balancing individual freedom with social cohesion.
Which inevitably brings us to the tough question: who actually benefits from all this?
Right.
And who gets left behind? Who are the victims, the losers?
Yeah, this is critical. The beneficiaries seem clear, at least initially. Those with access to the best AI tools, personalized education, healthcare, self-improvement apps.
Societies that use AI well for governance, resource management.
Right. But the potential victims or losers, those without access, obviously, widening the digital divide, the socioeconomic gaps.
And people whose autonomy gets compromised, manipulated by AI.
Yes. Or groups targeted by biased systems in hiring, loans, even the justice system. Individuals suffering from that cognitive offloading we talked about. And entire cultures potentially marginalized if AI promotes a narrow, dominant worldview.
That Western-centric bias again.
It looms large.
So that promise of universal self-perfection, no matter what culture or race, it feels really challenged by the current state of AI, doesn't it? The biases, the lack of diversity in data and development.
It's fundamentally challenged. Without deliberate, proactive effort, AI-driven self-perfection could easily end up benefiting mostly privileged groups, making inequality worse, and defining perfection very narrowly.
Creating victims and losers by default.
That's the risk, which is why that principle of fairness and non-discrimination is so absolutely vital.
So what are the proactive measures? How do we steer this better?
Diverse data sets are crucial. Multi-stakeholder governance, bringing different voices to the table. Rigorous ethical impact assessments before deploying systems, pushing for digital inclusion. And widespread AI literacy, so everyone understands the basics.
The goal being to democratize access, make sure AI reflects the whole human experience.
Exactly. Ultimately, whether these powerful AI innovations lead to a better future depends entirely on whether we guide them with strong ethical principles committed to augmenting all human intelligence and well-being.
Steering towards equity.
That has to be the goal.
Okay. We've covered a vast amount of ground in this deep dive. It's clear self-perfection isn't simple. It's dynamic, deeply social, tangled up with philosophy, psychology, society, and, yes, nature. AI offers incredible potential to understand and foster human flourishing. But that potential comes handcuffed to really significant ethical challenges: bias, autonomy, fairness, access.
And the planetary connection. True self-perfection requires a healthy planet. That's inescapable.
So the recommended path forward seems to be about embedding ethics right from the start.
Ethical AI by design, yes. Rigorous bias mitigation. Keeping it human-centric AI, augmenting us, not replacing us. Promoting AI literacy for everyone. Inclusive governance. And integrating deep environmental responsibility into AI development itself.
And future efforts should focus on what?
What?
More research.
Definitely. Interdisciplinary research on AI's real impacts on how we think and interact socially. Developing AI that's genuinely culturally adaptive. Exploring how AI might help foster global empathy, maybe even mitigate conflict. And constantly working on equitable access and protections against misuse.
Okay, so to leave our listeners with something to chew on, a final thought, drawing from everything we've discussed. Given AI's power to mirror our own complexities, our biases, back at us, and its potential to either amplify our conflicts or maybe help resolve them, what responsibility do you think we have as individuals, as societies? How do we shape not just the AI, but the very human values, the definitions of perfection that we feed into it?
That's a powerful question. Maybe, if this whole science of human self-perfection really does act as a mirror, then the true quest isn't really for AI to perfect us. Maybe it's for AI to help us perfect our own ethical compass, our collective wisdom.
This is DigitView.